Hilarious, yo. Hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, people of all ages, welcome back to the Sticky Floors podcast. I am one of your hosts, CJ. I am joined by Mr. Will, and tonight we are talking about one battle after another. This movie is in theaters right now, just came out this week. We're gonna get into this one, man. We got this. Look, we got the spoilers for you. We got the commentary. We got the critique. We got the breakdown. We got everything for you. So if you on this journey with us, just strap up because it's about to get about to do it, about to do it tonight. Mr. Will, what's up with you, man?
Oh man, anxious to talk about this movie, man. Heavy spoilers. Definitely one of the better movies I've seen. Appreciative of this ability to get that nasty hymn taste. Like yo,
Pause.
like
Yo, I like how you didn't say out of the mouth. I like how you didn't say.
oh yeah,
no, I like how you caught yourself there.
No, never that.
Yeah,
and I'm too old to be like yo, pause or all that stuff. But yo, that would have been yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a faux pas.
Yeah. Nah. Never that.
Oh man. All right. Well, look, so you perfectly alluded to it. Look, last week we did him. This week we are covering one battle after another. If you've listened to the show, sometimes we do things that have been in theaters for a long time. Sometimes we do stuff that just came out. This is the second week in a row that we're doing something like that. So we're looking forward to that. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify Podcasts. We are on YouTube, where we want to get 100 new subscribers by our 100th episode. This is our 95th. So as we're building to that milestone, join us with it. So if you listen to the show, if you've seen some clips, if you've seen episodes, hit that subscribe button, join the show, join the conversation, join the commentary, because we got a lot to say, man.
Yeah. There's definitely one conversation that I'm very intrigued about, and we were talking about it in the pre-production joint.
Okay.
And I am earnestly excited to hear from the female populace, specifically the black women out there, as far as their opinions
on this movie. Yes.
Yeah, I'd really like to hear.
Yeah, I want to know.
So please engage.
Yeah, because I want to know what y'all think about Perfidia and Deandra.
I'm curious.
And the other name that I can't say because this is a somewhat family show, so I'm not going to put her character's name out here. We'll say JP.
PJ.
JP.
JP.
Right.
Yeah, my bad.
That one too.
Yeah.
All right. So look, so we teed it up enough, man. Let's hit with the summary. Let's jump into this joint, man. What you got?
Yeah. Let's do that. One battle after another opens with a flashback to the heyday of the French 75, a volatile collective of radical activists who once shook the establishment. Among them is the magnetic yet dangerous. Now I'm probably going to butcher her name, but is it Perfidia?
Yeah, that's how I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah, it was Perfidia. Yep. Okay. Beverly Hills, played by Teyanna Taylor, whose fiery ideals left both scars and legends. And Ghetto Pat Calhoun, aka Bob, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, an explosives expert turned washed up revolutionary. Bob lives off the grid in a paranoia seclusion with his fiercely independent daughter, Willa. Their quiet exile shattered when Willa vanishes and Bob's long dormant past comes roaring back. Forced out of hiding and retirement, Bob reunites with his former comrades to take on a mission that blurs between personal vengeance and unfinished revolution. As they hunt down the resurfaced enemy responsible for Willa's disappearance, old tensions flare and loyalties are tested. Willa, meanwhile, fights for her own as she battles for survival, confronting the legacy of choices she never made. Together, father and daughter must reckon with what it means to resist and what costs to be free.
There it is, man. It's a lot going on in this film.
Oh yeah,
and it would be remiss of us not to point out a movie like this coming out at a time where Assata Shakur passed away officially this week. I know it was on the internet a little earlier, ultimately confirmed. Assata Shakur, who was in the Black Liberation Army, political prisoner, escaped from New York, from New Jersey correctional facilities to Cuba, where she has been for decades now. Obviously, a lot of us have read the book Assata, which talks about her life and her experiences and her political understandings and ideology. if it's not someone that you know about, it's someone that you should know about. Definitely from a black perspective, definitely I think from a black female perspective, definitely from a revolutionary perspective, to understand the minds and mindsets of people like this is important, especially in a day and time like this, and especially given the way that revolutionary activity and personas are captured in a film like One Battle After Another. So shout outs to the ancestor who has done her work, and to her family. I hope that you all find peace and that we all find peace. With that said, let's jump into this, man. One battle after another. So, Mr. Will, man, what's going on in this film, man? Tell me what
Wow,
what's
man.
Paul Thomas Anderson doing to us right now in this one, man?
Well, CJ mentioned it early too in the pre-production meeting that Paul has a wide array of movies which are at least 2 hours
Yeah.
minimum. So you're dealing with a lot of topics in that time frame,
Hmm.
and you're dealing with a very eclectic cast, and that's the case here. Um, this is very audacious as far as like the topics. You're talking about ageism, sexism, revolution, politics, uh, you name it, sexuality, gender, uh, social, economic norms being just utterly destroyed. I mean, like there's,
Fascism,
and the
secret
cast,
societies.
oh man, the cast talks about everything and anything that you can mention through these characters. I mean, you have the character that we can't name, just in the name itself should be
Yeah.
telling as far as, what her agenda is and what she stands for. And she stands, as the younger generation would say, she stands on business.
Right, the bank
And
scene. The bank scene. Yep.
in the bank scene, like she literally stands
Yeah.
on top of the counters,
Yeah.
takes off her mask and says, look at me. This is the epitome of what stands for.
Yeah.
And like CJ said, this is a PG, on the cusp of PG-13
We're
show, so
trying.
we can't say
We're
some things. So
trying.
we're earnestly trying to avoid crossing over what is it, SEC
That's
regulations.
funny.
So we just try to maintain. But yeah, man, this movie is about a father and a daughter and
Mhm.
just that rapport, single dads out there. This is about, ageism, where, you have an older populace who won't cede way to the new idealists
Mhm.
and what it is that they're struggling with. You're talking about power dynamics as far as men and women, males and females, what it looks like to break stereotypes.
Mhm.
You're dealing with a younger populace who they may, like Bob says, very matter of fact and bluntly, I want to be politically correct. I
Yeah.
don't want to offend anyone.
Right.
Is it he, she,
They,
they,
them. Yeah.
them?
Right. Everything. Everything
Like
is in
it's
this.
everything.
Yo, and
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
and here's the thing, man. We've covered a lot of movies that our usual critique is it's trying to do too much, right?
Not this time.
So we said that even last week talking about him, right? We
Oh
felt
yeah.
like it was a lot going on, and that was in a condensed movie of like an hour and a half. This
Yeah.
one, this is like 2 hours and 50 minutes, right? So you're in the theater for a long time, right? And that, as you said, that's a Paul Thomas Anderson staple. Like you go to see these movies, they're going to be long. Boogie Nights is long. you know, the mat,
There will be blood who's
there,
long.
right?
Whew.
There Will Be Blood is long. The Master is long. Now, I gotta say, those movies are some of my most favorite movies to watch, and
Oh
and
yeah,
There Will
no.
Be Blood is to this day like probably in my top 10 all time great films. But it takes a quality, a really quality director to try to figure out how to juggle all of these subjects and all of these characters in a responsible way. Because, like you said, all those themes that are being talked about here, if you marginalize any of those things too much, you offend a large
Mm,
swath of people. So if you mess up on how you portray Perfidia and Deandra and Willa, you're gonna mess up. If you mess up how you portray the French 75, you messed up. If you mess up how you portray a movie that starts to get into conversations about immigration reform and
mm.
activity in the United States in 2025, you messed up. So the ability to juggle all of those dynamics and a bunch of other things that we're going to get into at some point during the show, that's the mark of a master director. And I think Paul Thomas Anderson, or PTA as some people refer to him as, does that expertly well in this film.
And not just that, because you can only do so much on your end. The cast brings to light everything that he's trying to get across to the
Absolutely.
public.
Absolutely.
Leonardo DiCaprio, he never fails. I've never seen one bad movie that he's in,
Agreed.
and that the scenes that he's in, he demands you pay attention.
Yeah.
He breaks a lot of stereotypes. I mean, not for me, because after Django Unchained,
You're right.
like anything, like I was like, all right, there's really nothing that's off limits with him. But in this, him playing a smoked out, revolutionary dude
Burnt
who
out.
who
Right.
loves black women,
Right.
I'm like, yo, dude, like I was like, yeah, this kind of fits with him in real life though too.
When
Like,
you say it, it sounds hilarious. Smoked out
yeah,
white dude who
he's
loves black
smoked out,
women.
man.
Yeah.
Like he
Right.
tells you like unfiltered, like unapologetic. Yo, I have abused alcohol. And the
And
scene he
drugs.
says,
Yeah.
I have abused alcohol and drugs, and I like it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah, he
like
did. Yeah,
it.
he did say that. He did put that on it. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, like you said, Leonardo DiCaprio he's done an expert job of picking roles
Oh
and
yeah.
picking what films to be in. This is the person, like you said, Django Unchained, Calvin Candy, right? And then he comes back in this joint and he's, Bob Ferguson, right? And he plays these roles, or Ghetto Pat Calhoun, whichever.
Shout out to one of our boys who likes Project Pat, and
Right.
that's where I was seeing the whole joint from. Like,
Right. Whichever version you want to say, like he's really a masterful actor. We covered him a little bit in Inception, episode 65, but
one of my favorite
right,
movies.
absolutely right, and right, mind bending people to this day. But
Mm-hmm.
like his career, the way that he has been so careful about what he decides to be in, the roles that he plays, it's a tribute to like managing the career as
Mm-hmm.
an A-list actor. I mean, some of my favorites from him: The Departed, Revolutionary Road, Inception, obviously,
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon. He was great in that. And what I really like about his choices of characters is he's not afraid to be the bad guy. And he's
Oh
not
no.
afraid to revel in that role and to really like do whatever it takes to be a monster in that. Because Calvin Candy's a complete jerk in Django Chain. And I'm
And
saying,
that, you're putting it very
well,
diplomatically,
it's still a
man.
family show. Otherwise, I would say something else, right? But then you come back and Bob Ferguson in this one, he's a part of this organization, the French 75, which right from the beginning, the first opening scene, they do so much to kind of show you how planful and organized they are, but then also how destructive they can be as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing too. When they're going out into a military installation,
Mm-hmm.
like this is not like, and this is no offense to them, but this isn't your regular police or even SWAT.
Yeah,
This is the
military,
military.
right?
This is the United States government,
Right.
like elite. And they go there, and it's just like, wow,
They get the drop on them.
okay, yeah, which was surprising.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess for the purposes of this movie, this had to set the stage. Otherwise, they would have been killed off, and then that would have been it. But okay,
Grand opening, grand closing type of
yeah,
thing.
close it. Yeah, so I'll suspend that. But then they go there and they don't fire a shot, which kind of sets the tone as far as their intentions. Like, yes, they want to bring about change, but they don't want to harm anyone.
Okay.
Or at least it seems that way initially. Like they don't want to bring about anyone's unnecessary untiming. Then the scene with Teyanna Taylor, and shout out to her being cast
Oh
in this
man,
particular
she
role
is.
because it suits her very
Man,
well.
she's cooking in this, man.
And she just runs up on at the time the captain Lockjaw,
Mm-hmm.
and pretty much sets the tempo as far as their dynamic and their relationship. She commands him at attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way I can put it.
Literally and figuratively. Yes.
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 And that kind of like made me stand up and say, all right, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe this is about a power struggle and about her imposing her will on him and letting him know, like, look, my stature may not be the same as yours, and I may not have the same age and years of experience on the combat field, but we're both effective, we're both commanding, we're both daring, and we're both someone to be not taken lightly.
Yeah.
Fast forward, she manages to pass that down to her daughter as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is very interesting because she's absentee in this.
Yeah.
And that says something about
right.
her as a mother or mothers as a whole, and the unfair narrative that a lot of single fathers get.
Yeah. So I want to go back to something that you said about that, because and when you're watching the film, Teyanna Taylor is present, and once again, we're about to get into the spoilers on this one. really
Yeah.
present in the first third of the film. And then you really don't
Mm-hmm.
see her anymore
Heavily.
after that. So
No.
she's got to establish such a presence for the character of Perfidia that an hour and a half later, you still get why Bob and
Mm-hmm.
Lockjaw and Willa and Deandra, why they have such a strong impression of her. So
Yes.
what Teyanna Taylor does in that first 30 to 35 minutes of the film is so important because if she's not even like outlandish and outsized and all those things, then you would almost lose track of
No.
the character because you don't see her anymore, right? After that
Mm-mm.
point, like after she essentially dimes out the entire organization,
Which is
right? After
crazy.
she dimes out the whole organization, and then after she escapes basically witness protection, you don't see her anymore. And I
Yeah.
think even that decision in the film is really interesting and it's really important because it creates the idea of her as being absent from Willa's life. And that's
Mm-hmm.
like that's an important thing too because there's this dynamic where both Bob and Lockjaw are like chasing the idea of perfidia, and both of them have defined perfidia based on their terms, and yet neither of them is really clear, or I think really knows what perfidia actually is. In fact, I would say that only the other black female characters really know and understand what perfidia is really about.
That's funny you say that because the mother told Bob,
Right from the
she's a
beginning.
runner
Yep, right from the
and you're a
beginning.
stump. And what are you going to
Right.
do with this baby?
Yeah.
Like she tried to put him
Yeah,
down.
she tried to give him some
And
game. She
she's
did.
the one who allows him to continue to stay in her
Yeah.
home, which is you would think would be the other way
Yeah.
around. Like, hey, I want nothing to do with you because, you know, you're only here because of my daughter.
Yeah.
And you would have thought that Bob would have been the one to run out on her. But she told her from the rip, like, yo, you are not the one that should be with my daughter.
Yeah.
Like she just told him out front, like, you guys are nothing alike. You have maybe this revolutionary cause in common, but personality wise,
It's not gonna
there's
work.
nothing going on here. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to protect you. And yet at the end, he kisses her goodbye and everything when they're forced to
Yeah.
leave because of the daughter diming everybody out.
Yeah.
That's one for me. Two, I think the other interesting thing is I think it is JP who's now a nun,
Yes. Yeah.
which is
Which is
ironic.
great. Which is a great
Which is
turnabout. Great turnabout.
wow. So that sells
Hey,
weed, mind
and
you,
shoots guns. 16 years later.
shoots gun
16 years later, right?
inside of an isolated like forestry camp,
Yeah.
old masonry type joint
Mm-hmm.
where nunnery. She says, we're still haunted by the curse, or we're still paying for whatever it is of perfidia.
Yeah.
Like that thing still haunts them. It's like the gift that keeps on returning.
That's what's the
And
gift that keeps on giving, perfidia.
yeah,
And we don't need a baby perfidia around here now.
think about
Yeah.
that. And the only thing that comes from rats is baby
Oh,
rats.
listen, that's fantastic because the thing is, okay, so Bob romanticizes perfidia as
Mm-hmm.
this.
Can you blame him
Oh
though?
no, he's captivated by her, and
Like she just kept doing all the stuff that like, yo, let's do it here and
she's
let's
captivating. No, look, the Teyanna Taylor, the creation of that perfidia character, everybody who watches that will always remember. Perfidia. Was it Perfidia Beverly Hills? That's the full name.
yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna remember that. But Bob actually loves this woman. Like Bob loves this woman, and he sees her as this hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Log.
Which is ironic because she keeps talking about how nobody loves her, nobody sees her, she's just a piece of meat.
Yeah,
But that's postpartum.
yeah, it was, and yes,
And I
and
love that they tackled that
and
too.
they try right, and they like, dang, you get me upset, but let me say that one of the dope things about the film is that it does not try to explain in
No.
exposition everything that's happening. It
Nope.
trusts the audience to be adult enough to
Mm-hmm.
understand, like you said, that in that scene, Perfidia is going through postpartum, which is what's affecting her judgment and her
Mm-hmm.
decision making. Now, I want to talk about Lockjaw for a second. Lockjaw sees Perfidia as this warrior and as this kind of like force of destructive nature, which, to be honest, to me personally, I really think Lockjaw is closer to who Perfidia actually is than Bob is. But what neither Bob nor Lockjaw really get, which I think Deandra really gets, is that actually Perfidia is this unstable entity that cannot be trusted. and that ultimately is really doing moment to moment what she wants that's in her best interest. And don't forget, this is the character that dimed out the French 75. She was involved with Lockjaw unbeknownst to everyone.
No, she ended up telling one person, remember, because that's how they were
Oh,
able to
that's right,
find the name in
right.
the file.
That's right. Okay, thank you. Good point. But certainly didn't tell the rest of the organization, right? And the question, one of the things that I've wondered about in the film is, does Perfidia know, in fact, that Lockjaw is actually Willa's
Of course she
father?
knows.
Right. So so if that's the position you take, that's even more crazy, right? But neither.
Nobody said she was the epitome of sanity.
No, but they don't. Neither some say that. But both Bob and Lockjaw, they romanticize her in a way that, as the movie goes on and you find out more, you see like, yeah, that's not how really it is. And then Willa's character has to try to really understand, who is this person that's my mom, and like, how do I see her relative to all of these parts and all these things. Some of it fact, some of it fiction.
I would compare that to individuals who do OF or corn, and then they talk
You can just
about
say
how,
OnlyFans, man. You can just say OnlyFans. You just
well,
say
they
it.
say, hey, you know what? If I have a child, I'm not going to be responsible for how my child receives these bullying tactics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to blame the children who are bullying my child
Mm-hmm.
and ask them what's wrong with them that they have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
No accountability whatsoever. I would use that because Perfidia, like Bob tells her, look, we now have a
We're a
family.
family now,
This
right?
is no longer
Yeah,
about just you and what you want to do.
yeah.
Because she tries to gaslight him and say, "Oh, you can't handle that. I am the epitome and the symbol of what it means to be a revolutionary, and that
Yes.
the power dynamic has now changed,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what revolution is about:
Yeah.
changing dynamics."
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing about that. This is now about them transitioning. And that's what I would argue too. What happens to the revolutionary figures who are not assassinated, that actually now have something to live for, i.e., a
Yeah.
child, and then they become, part of the mainstream culture or somewhat on the fringes of it,
Yeah.
where they are no longer on the outskirts and are trying to upset or disrupt the structure itself. What happens then?
Yeah.
Another thing before we even get past that is Billy Goat, who also is suffering a similar conundrum when he's interrogated. First, the fact that they talk about what it means for so-called people of color to be black bagged and then thrust
Right.
into a car by unknown
Right.
assailants and then interrogated, even all the way to the children in the high school.
Right.
Because there's no way that an adult is going to do that in a public school around principals and teachers and not be like, yo, let's call their parents
Yeah.
and allow the military to just do this. So many civil rights infringements. But again, let's go back to Billy Goat and the comparison juxtaposition of him and Perfidia's situation.
Mm-hmm.
He now dimes out the rest of them
Mm-hmm.
with regards to their their new identities to the army, because that's who they are now. This
It's the
even though it says
military.
police,
Yeah.
this is the
Mm-hmm.
military police, if
And
anything.
how about
He
and how about that blending of the
oh
police and the military, right? Like that
working
even
together, yeah, the military industrial
right.
complex
Right. It's a great allusion to
talked
it.
about by Dwight
Great
Eisenhower,
allusion
which
to
is
it.
another thing is like crazy in itself, where you get all these bits and pieces. But again, as CJ said, the audience is sophisticated and mature enough to understand, like, oh, this is the point of reference. This is what we're talking about. I don't have to expand upon it. You'll get it.
Yeah.
So because the audience is sophisticated and mature and educated enough to get that.
Yeah.
And for those that don't, this should be a calling card to say, hey, let me research, let me understand, let me get more knowledge.
Yeah.
I may have not been born in those times to truly appreciate the gravitas of the situation, yet I can still get a bit of understanding as far as what they're talking about, and I get that point of reference.
Yeah, and that's what I think is also really good about the film is that it deals with real like current events, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily base it on the actual institutions. So you
Mm-hmm.
don't hear FBI or CIA or
Yeah,
ICE,
alphabet soup
right? You don't
people.
hear
Yeah.
that. You don't hear those. Those are not terms that are brought up in this, but the organizations that are there, they represent those things, right? And so it gives you, I think, as the audience, a chance. And we talked about the French 75. It's like you can kind of decide what the French 75 is about. Because in the beginning, right, they free the immigrants, right, in the beginning. Then, as you pointed out, they blow up the bank that's supporting the abortion clinics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, ironically, is kind of an interesting, seems like juxtaposition because usually in America, you think of immigration reform in terms of letting people be free as more of a democratic thing. And then you think of shutting down abortion clinics as more of a conservative or Republican thing. Yet French 75 is kind of like in the middle of those things. And that's before you get to them blowing up the power grid and knocking out all the power. So there's like this, but it's like the thing is with their organization is you can look at it and say, okay, this is a bowl, and you as the audience get to put it in, and PTA trusts you as the audience to say, I think French 75 is this, or I think French 75 is that. So even for me and you, we might look at them and see them completely different. And that actually helps the movie because it allows you to be more fluid in how you see them and the police and Lockjaw at different points in the film.
Yeah, and I think that's where Benicio Del Toro's character comes in too,
Oh, yeah,
where
he's fantastic.
the shift now becomes more about immigration and what those individuals do for their own people.
Yes.
He was housing at least 20, 30 people
Yes.
in
Yes.
a apartment over that stood over, I guess, like a convenience store,
Mhm.
bodega, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
Simultaneously, he runs a dojo,
Yeah.
which shows an amalgamation of cultures blending
How
itself
about that?
together. And to think, there is a heavy populace of Chinese immigrants in Puerto Rico, in the Dominican Republic, where they speak not necessarily English, but they speak Spanish
Mhm.
as well as Mandarin or whatever have you. And that itself I found intriguing. Yet simultaneously, here's Bob, a white man who goes into a school and is educating
I love
a
this scene. I
teacher
love it. Yes.
about making sure that she shows an unbiased picture of the totality of these events, where he comments outright, "Oh, a bunch of slave masters.
Yes.
Oh, Ben Franklin, the ultimate KKK member,
Right. The Grand Wizard.
Like,
he calls him the Grand Wizard.
Wizard.
Right,
He
yeah.
called him, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so he himself as a white male, he's not unabashed in his sentiments and expressing them to another white person, this time a female. And then even his name itself, where they introduce him, and she's like, "You better." Perfidia's like, "Yo, you better impress me, Bob." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got it." And when he does, she asks him point blank, period, "Do you like black women?" And he's like, "I love black." Like, this dude is unabashed, unfiltered, unapologetic. Like, he is out there, live and direct.
Pat or Bob, whatever you want to call him. His nose is wide open. Like Perfidia's got him all the way open, man.
And the camp scene where she and her friend JP are like, "Yo, I don't care. I could get rid of him anyway."
Yeah.
And she's holding the gun and they're laughing about it.
Yeah.
Where she's talking about, "Yo, this is fun. The reactionary, revolutionary stuff, that's for fun. Her is for something else."
Yeah.
And you would think it would be the polar opposite, that it would be totally different, that the way that sexuality is expressed today in society, that would be more recreational, whereas the professionalism would be brought about in the counter revolutionary tactics that they try to undertake.
A whole movie could be about Perfidia and how she negotiates the sexual politics of the people that she's choosing to be involved with, and the way that she has those relationships with them, because with both Lockjaw and with Bob, I'm just gonna call him Bob. I'm not gonna stay with Pat because he's Bob most of the film, so I'm gonna stay with Bob.
Yeah.
She is in control of those sexual encounters at all times. She is the aggressor. She is the person that's deciding what's happening, when, and how. And she's never losing the power. And like you said in the beginning, she's usurping the power dynamic that the white male would have over the black female in those situations. And it's constantly being flipped and changed, just like the same way the French 75 is trying to overthrow this institution of government in this movie.
But even amongst her own peers and those that are like-minded like her, you would think, they're not even like her.
No, they're not.
They don't even think like her. Deandra, it tells Bob point blank, period, like, "Yo, she is unstable." When he says, "Yo, she's supposed to be a mom right now." And she says, "No, she's crazy." She just comes out and says, like, "No, This chick is on something else altogether.
Well,
And another thing that I would also like to point out is just the way they talk about her being the reason for why everyone is in their predicament. When you betray, her name literally means betrayal, which is one of the things I like, and I'll get to that later.
mm-hmm.
Um, the fact that she betrays them for self-preservation with no like remorse, no regret whatsoever in those moments, or at least it's not outwardly expressed, maybe alluded to later on in the letter that she gives to her daughter,
Mm-hmm.
well, gives to Bob to give to her daughter. Maybe then. But when she does that, the ramifications of that is she might as well killed these people herself.
Right.
When May is walking out of the back, yo, Lockjaw just blows her head off.
I know. Yeah. Oh, by the way, so that's the interesting thing about Mae. So the Mae West character. So Mae West is involved with Wood Harris's character, right? So
Oh,
apparently something in the French 75. French 75 is a very interracial dating kind of pool too, which is also very interesting as well for like why that's set up that way.
it gives off Weatherman vibes.
How about
So
that?
like they borrow from the Black Panthers, but yet at the same time, it's almost like the Weathermen.
How about that?
So they're borrowing from a little bit here or there. Snick too. I see elements of that.
They are, and that's a tribute to how it's set up because it's not trying to be locked into what we've typically seen in movies like this. Like if you see Panther, the movie Panther,
Yeah.
right, by Mario Peoples, like that Mario Van Peoples, that movie because it's based on the Black Panthers, it's the Panthers. So everything you're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
like the ideology, the way it's being constrained, is very defined. Or even if you watch something like The Spook Who Sat by the Door, that is undefined, but it's also very clearly Black Revolutionary Organization. Whereas in this movie, French 75 is a little bit different. So you're right. They can pull from this, they can pull from that, and asking the audience to do the same thing. Because I guarantee you, some
Mm-hmm.
people are going to watch this and they'll think, oh, that's like Black Lives Matter. Or they might
Mm-hmm.
say,
Oh yeah.
oh, that's like Antifa. Or they might say, like,
Mm.
oh, that's like something else, right? So however you want to see it, you can do that, right? And I think that's a tribute to like just how film is. But before,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, but before we get off of that subject, I do want to say that it's kind of similar to the protests that were occurring at the time in Colorado, where they were downtown. Same thing in Seattle,
Mm-hmm.
where they're alluding to they have where he says, "Yo, put in Van Halen," and then someone from the police dressed as a
How
so-called
about that?
protester
That is,
throwing the
I'm so glad you
firebomb.
brought that up.
And it's the same thing as far as like the protest on Wall Street.
Yeah.
Similar
Occupy Wall
like
Street.
back
Yeah.
channels in which to infiltrate and to pretty much provoke the power structure to saying, "Hey, look, they started it first,
Oh,
so
that's so
they're trying
brilliant.
to incite the violence."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
incite the violence for the media to see it as
Mm-hmm.
such.
Oh yeah,
Right.
the perception.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then that's also gives you like another PTA standard, which is like the idea of like the kineticness of a scene, two people
Mm-hmm.
talking, all types of violence and chaos
Yeah.
happening in the background. It's very well done. But we gotta talk about the Christmas Adventurers Club.
Oh
So
man.
we gotta talk about this because this is the thing, man. The way, okay, you remember when we did what's the Quentin Tarantino film Pulp Fiction? Remember
Mm-hmm.
how Pulp Fiction seems like it's going this way, and then all of a sudden the Gimp is in, and it's like, what the hell is that? Where did that scene come? Where did that storyline come from, right? But like there was something real for that, right? That's what this
Oh
movie
yeah.
does with the Christmas Adventurers Club because at first you don't really know what it is, right? Like when
Mm-mm.
Lockjaw first gets called to go see them, and by the way, Sean Penn, amazing in this.
Yeah. Hats off to him in
Yo,
this.
he's got 2 Academy Awards already. He's probably gonna get. He's gonna be at
He's
least.
going to get a
He's gonna get
nomination.
nominated for this because you can make a case that acting wise, he's like he might outshine everybody else in this film, and that's hard in a film with
That's a hard
Leonardo
argument too, but I
DiCaprio
can't say you crazy.
and
Yeah.
Benicio Del Toro and Teyanna Taylor, who are all doing their thing. But that notwithstanding, when he goes, you think it's like a part of the military that he's going to deal with. Then you realize, no, this is like a different thing altogether. This is
He even says that he knows what this is about.
right. This is a secret society organization that controls the military, controls the finance part, controls the business part. This is the true fascist organization that is a threat
This
to
is the
everything.
Illuminati
It's the
that
right,
everybody's talking about.
and because it's called the Christmas
This is
Adventurers
they.
Club, right? It's they that it's the real they, right? It's like it's like, and it's so perfectly executed that it's like you know that they are there in the background controlling things, and that the military people don't know that they exist, and the French 75 don't know what they exist. And although these two factions are fighting against each other, the person is really in control, the
The
real,
puppet master.
they don't ever see him.
It's the hidden hand, man. It's the wizard behind the screen. And that's the thing that's crazy, is that these are there's really no age group, because it shows the one gentleman who looks like he's suffering from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's,
Yeah.
all the way to the young dude who's coming in and is like, yo, and the funny thing is that none of them directly say what needs to be said, even amongst them, and
Yeah.
that's the cabal.
Yeah.
And they're saying like, you know
Yeah.
what, I'm gonna send it off to Bob, and then Bob starts talking, and then he's like, and
Right.
not
Like a
the
business
other Bob.
meeting. Right. It's about like a
Yeah,
business, like a straight business meeting
they even got a knock, man.
about killing
That
somebody.
chimes in
Right.
with the Christmas Carol joint.
Right. And the way that they talk about perfidia, the way that they talk about the soldier who's a Native American,
Oh
like
yeah,
things, like the
he's a
way,
bounty hunter actually.
like the way that you talk about your phone, like they're like, yo, well, where's the phone at? Is the phone still alive? Is it, or did you break the phone? Like that is
Do you trust him?
no,
He's
right,
not native born.
dog. That, so that whole those scenes to me, like that is there intentionally, like that, even that level of organization within all the chaos and the humor, it's, there's nothing funny about them, but that's like the real problem, and no one
Mm-hmm.
is aware that that thing even exists.
I think that's, what is it? The best trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist. This is the epitome of that. This is the, hey, just when you think you know, you have no idea that there is a kingmaker above the kingmaker.
Yeah.
So like it's like who watches the Watchmen type of stuff.
Right.
Because this elite group, he's talking about, when he makes the introductions and he says to him, hey, I'm having a party for my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm
It's a
having a party
wedding. It
for
was
my
a
daughter
wedding.
to
His daughter's
celebrate her
wedding.
wedding. Yeah, to celebrate her engagement. He's like, I invited you through the back way so that, because we felt you'd be uncomfortable. No, they wanted to make sure that they could have plausible deniability and to distance themselves
Right.
from this cat
Right.
in case somebody saw him and recognized him. And sidebar, this dude is given the Bedford Forest, named after Nathan Bedford Forrest, a Civil War Confederate general. He's given an award. So in case you miss up on just how like much they are behooving to this whole white power structure,
Mm-hmm.
no, the Paul gives you
Yeah.
different Easter eggs, if you will, about what their intentions are and what their true rationale is with respect to this movie. Then another step to take it even further, just when you think it couldn't get any more chaotic. So we've already discussed him being raped by a handgun at the hands of Teyanna Taylor. We've already
Was it
discussed
rape though? Was it reverse rape? Which, by the way, that's hilarious. The reverse.
he calls her a semen
I know,
demon.
that's crazy. I know it's so good. I interrupt you. Good. It's
No,
just
no,
it's
no.
just a nut. It's just it's just
A nut,
it's nuts, man.
a nut, or
it's
nuts.
nuts. Pause. No, nuts. Go ahead, man.
But aside from all of that craziness, the thing that really perturbed me, I don't even know how they could even manage to outdo themselves, is that he says, Avanti, who is the indigenous character, he says, look, he essentially says, look, even I have a line, because they meet in a quarry,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy
Mm-hmm.
that they even know where to go and meet up.
Mm-hmm.
But he says, look, I don't do this to kids.
Yeah, and
So he says, all
you're
right,
talking about when Lockjaw
yeah, when Lockjaw and Avanti
Willa
meet
to
up, and
him to kill.
he
Yeah.
brings
Mm-hmm.
Willa, and they're like, and he's like, Avanti's telling him like, yo, look, I don't do this to kids, man. And he's like, even I have a limit. So him kidnapping a man off of the street, nah, he had no qualms
That's
with that.
business.
Him crossing county lines with the child, he has no problem with that. Where he stops is the actual
Yeah.
murder itself. But forget all that.
Everybody's got to
takes,
have a code. Everybody's got to have a code, man.
which is contrary to a similar movie like that when we watched what's the movie with that we did earlier in the season where I was like, oh no Country for Old
Mm.
Men, where your favorite villain
Anton Chigurh, man. That's how. By the way, this movie
He,
has kind of like No Country for Old Men
that's why I'm
vibes.
bringing
Yeah,
it
it does.
up.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It has that type of like sentiment
The vibe, yeah, especially like in the
yeah.
open
So
road kind of thing. Yeah, it
yeah,
does. It does. Yep.
so he manages to take him to, this is the thing where it just seems so crazy to me. Like it's totally implausible. Takes him to basically a bunch of neo-Nazi military outback
Yeah.
militia type dudes who are literally grooming another youngster who is pouring gasoline into the boat, and everybody starts to figure it out. Oh, they're going to shoot her and then bury her body in this lake,
Yeah, they are.
right?
Yeah.
So forget the conservational and environmental aspects to it, where a human body is decaying,
Gotcha.
but it's a child. But forget all that. So he drops off the keys, and the guy with all tattoos and everything
Mhm.
insults him racially as well.
Yep.
The guy gets a conscience, and I don't understand why it took that far. If his principle was
Yeah.
no
That
kids,
was just the
why
day, man.
bring him? This is where it gets crazy for me. Brings him to the epitome of the devil, who's going to kill a child, right?
Mhm.
In water. So
Mhm.
that's not lost for those who know the story of children being killed by gators in Florida during slavery, at the hands of slave masters and other
Mhm.
anti
Mhm.
uh, anti-slavery, excuse me, slavery protagonists. So he comes back. He doesn't try and hide or duck behind some type of counterfire when he's trying to kill off two dudes in the opposite direction. So obviously, I think he knew that he was going to die and that he was willing to sacrifice himself for it because he felt as if he crossed the line. Okay, kudos. That's his penance. Meanwhile, though, he's abandoning this child who's zip tied twice, handcuffed once, even though he uncuffed the handcuffs.
Mhm.
How is she supposed to get out of there? But okay,
I think he.
forget all
I
that.
think he just wanted. I think he wanted it to be over for him. And if she
And that's what
and
I'm
if she
saying.
got
But
and if
it's,
she got away, if Willa got away, so be it. But
I
it
mean,
wasn't about. He wasn't running a rescue mission.
and that's
It was
what
a suicide mission.
but that's the crazy thing to me. Why put yourself in that predicament? You should, if you're a man of principle, you should have been a man of principle from the onset.
Yeah, but
I'm going to skip over a lot of stuff here, so
yeah,
bear with me.
okay.
But that thing of him being willing to work with parties that are counterintuitive to what he knows of right and wrong, who do not have anything in common with him, who are outright and blatantly racist,
Mm-hmm.
that says something to me about what he truly is. Is he really a servant, a lapdog, a sellout, or is this really about business, or is this about him infiltrating and then trying to make amends at the end? I'm confused.
Yeah, I didn't give that particular character, all of that thought on it. Actually, I
Mm.
thought it was more designed to. Actually, I thought it was a great foreshadowing coming from the Christmas Adventurers
Mm.
meeting because they talk about him to build him up, and then you see how he handles like the situation at the end with Willa and the soldiers. But I think that the thing about the how that ties in with the Christmas Adventures, though, for me, is that they don't see any of these people as people. They see them
Which
as
is,
things. So because of that, they can't even imagine that that character, what's his name, Avanti? Is that his name?
yeah, it's
That
Avanti.
Avanti would change his allegiance, or that he would abort the mission, or that he would decide, you know what, now like, I'm not going to do this anymore, but I'm going to make sure that no one else can do this, and at least these five people that are here with me can do that anymore either. And the thing about Avanti is not a hero. Like he's not.
No.
He didn't. It just. I just think like in that moment he was just like, you know what, it's up today. That's it. Like, and
Mm.
he just decided, and Willa happened to be there, but maybe it would have
And she
been
happened to be the
yeah,
one.
and she just
Okay.
happened to be the person because
Reap the benefits of
yeah,
it.
because it wasn't like he's trying to. If he really cared, he would have just let her out of the car.
Yeah, he would have. He would
he
have
could
drove her to
he could have
safety.
just let her out of the car, right? But he went through with the thing, and then he just like maybe he really hated that guy who made that stagecoach robber joke to him. Maybe he just really was like,
But the thing that bugs me
I
out,
hate Richard. Richard's gonna die today.
but maybe, and but the thing about all of that though is these men make no qualms about who they deal with. Yet where they draw the line is if you happen to have children with someone else that you consider inferior. That's where we draw the line. Also, it's not about killing kids.
Yeah, you're
It's
talking
not
about the
about,
Christmas Adventures Club. Yeah.
yeah, it's not about imprisoning people indefinitely for no crime for no real crime at all.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't harm anybody, yet they've been imprisoned without due process. And it's not about censoring someone's right to a bodily autonomy, Like, so if you want to have an abortion or birth control or whatever it is, no, it's not that. It's not even about just the freedom, because that probably is the overall theme of this movie: freedom of expression, freedom to do whatever it is that you feel you want to do. So it's not about the freedom to allow or the ability to allow individuals to just exist. I don't know what it is.
What it is in
Like, I
terms of what? In terms of what the what's the
not
who's thinking about? What do you mean by that?
not just the movie, but the characters themselves,
Like for
because
the
I think
Christmas
that the
Adventures Club?
characters, yeah, yeah,
They're the fascist organization that wants to control the world.
I,
And and
yeah, but
and through
control
the
the world for what means though? To what ends?
for the purity of the white race, which they're very adamant about. I mean,
Yeah,
they won't even let a member join if that person has ever been involved with a non-white person.
okay, but if that truly is the case, then why are they doing business with non-white people?
Because money is green.
And I think maybe that's the real, maybe that's the only color that they really like,
Because
green.
money is green. That's how that is.
Because they tell Bob, I mean, they tell Lockjaw outright, like, look, you can have everything.
Yeah,
Like, nothing is without the scope. You
yeah,
could have it all:
yeah.
money, power. You want a house somewhere, that
Mhm.
whatever, everything is on the table.
Yeah, yeah. The Christmas Adventures Club. They're like they. I have a question about them a little bit later on, so
Oh yeah.
we'll get to them. All right, let's get into the cake, man. I'm gonna run mine down real quick. All right, opening scene with Teyanna Taylor. I just the way that she controls it right from the beginning. She's just popping. All jokes aside, she's popping the whole time. Good for her. Great scene, great introduction scene. And like I said, the way she carries the first 30 minutes of the film, Leonardo DiCaprio is actually not that the prominent character until like midway through the film. So just great job with her with there.
Well, she's passed the baton to him in this
Yeah,
movie.
she does. Yeah,
So where she falls off, he picks
yeah.
up.
That's after she dimes him out. Right. Bob and the
Imagine that.
history teacher, the great scene. I loved that too. Thank you for shouting that out. When Billy Goat gets taken, what I really love about that scene is Avanti takes Billy Goat, but then the kids go inside and let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah.
The level of
Yeah.
organization, I just love to see like that all of that was there and all that was happening. We talked about earlier, Regina Hall and Benicio Del Toro in this, great. Like that second half of the film, they step in and they prop the story. It's just great job. When Bob tries to get the coordinates for the rendezvous, it's
Oh
funny.
man.
And by the way, this is an understated, very funny movie. There's parts in it where I was laughing out loud, and that scene where he's trying to get the coordinates, that was hilarious to me. We talked about the Christmas Adventures Club. That's their scenes are just very interesting to me. And then last, at the end, I love how Willa sets the trap for the guy from the Christmas Adventures Club.
Oh,
But
dope.
by the way, killing people in a Lacoste red zip up vest shirt and a shotgun is like the most casual dressed assassin I've ever seen. But how she does that at the end with parking the car and then hiding behind, giving the call sign, like that was just such a well executed scene by the actors, but also by Paul Thomas Anderson as well. That's what I got as cake, kicking it over to you.
The character CJ's talking about is Tim Smith, played by John Hugenocker. That's the
That's a
gentleman
great
in the
name too.
vest,
Yes.
dressed up all casually. Other members of the Christmas Adventurer join is Tony Godwin. Also talking about the lady that they when they come in, where she
Mm-hmm.
mentions the pancake scene, banana pancakes. Brilliant. I'm also with CJ as far as the cast. Cast very well. We've talked about them ad nauseum. Um, Definitely like the same scenes as CJ. And I think the thing that really garnered my respect again is the nuanced little details, such as the etymology of the characters' names. Perfidia actually means betrayal.
How about
Pat
that?
Calhoun,
How about
uh,
that?
Pat's shortened version of Patrick, which originates from the Latin word patricius, meaning novel, or excuse me, noble or noble birth. And in ancient Rome, the patrician was referred to the members of the ruling or the noble class, a title associated with very high social status and respectability. And then the nickname Pat, you're talking about little strokes, pat in the back, commemorating or encouraging somebody to do better. The name Calhoun itself is is originated from the name Cahoon, which is a Gaelic name meaning
Hmm.
narrow corner. So when you take all of that, Patrick, Pat, Calhoun, Bob, it's an individual who's going through a tough predicament through narrow caverns, who's trying to exert his nobility, even though he's amongst the proletariat. Just that play off of it. And then last but not least, they spawn a daughter whose name is Willa, whose name means will or desire or combined meaning of helmet or protection. And it's a Germanic name.
There it is.
So that those little things did it for me.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That yes, and I always like when you do the name breakdowns because perfidia being betrayal is like that's fantastic. I like
Yeah.
that's great foreshadowing. If you do the etymology of words, then you would have knew what was going to happen.
Plus, her middle name Beverly, taken after the famous actress and also model. So like just that play off of it. You know,
Yeah,
shout out to the individuals who did the research on the names and such. Very powerful.
there it is. All right. Couple things that I did not like about it. Okay, attacking a military base or anything without masks on, that just
Mhm.
seems completely ridiculous
Ridiculous.
and stupid. I don't know why you would do that. I didn't like that. I would have
No.
liked to see more of Perfidia's mom in this because I like she
Hmm.
had like a good vibe to her, and
Yeah.
I would have loved to see like a scene with Perfidia and her mom kind of like talking about the stuff that Perfidia is doing.
Oh yeah.
That would have just been very interesting. I didn't like Lockjaw surviving the getting shot in the face with the shotgun,
Preposterous,
flipping
man.
over in the SUV, landing in the desert. That just,
All of this is gone.
yeah, I just, and then, okay, if you're gonna do all that, why do that for him to come back as like the Terminator face guy to be like to get killed 5 minutes later,
Gassed out.
basically in the same
I
show?
know it's a time elapsed because he had surgery or whatever,
Yeah,
but
but I didn't understand that scene. I didn't understand like I was comfortable with him getting blown away by the Lacoste guy.
and that should have been the end of his story.
I'm good with that. I don't understand why they they did that last 5 minutes. Like I already know the Christmas Adventures Club is going to kill him. Like
Yeah, they eat their own.
yeah, I mean that I didn't need that. All right, and then the last thing is you know what? I'm not even. That's actually all I got because the last one is going to go into one of my questions, so I'm gonna leave that alone.
All right.
What you got on the things you didn't like?
I think it's the same things, the blown off face aspect and him not dying,
Yeah,
Lockjaw that
Lockjaw
is.
should be
Uh,
dead right there.
the ridiculous scenarios, them not wearing masks and
Crazy,
going.
but Bob wears a mask.
Well, that's the thing that I knew automatically something was going to happen because when now Colonel Lockjaw is in the truck and he is basically peeping the set as far as them in the bank and
Yeah,
everything. Oh no, excuse me, them at the another detention center,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's focusing on Perfidia with no mask on, mind you.
yeah,
He sees Bob smack her in the butt
yeah,
and she likes it,
yeah.
and then he focuses attention on him and notices that he too is a white male. Once I saw that, I
Yes,
knew that he was going to find him like he did
yeah,
in a grocery store shopping for baby products,
yeah,
and him just asking
yeah,
all those perturbing questions without him turning around,
yeah,
only to find out, oh, it's Lockjaw.
yeah, yeah. When he said to her, when he asked like, "What's her name?" He says Charlene. Because remember,
Sounds like a black name.
oh, that was yeah. That's in real life. That you might be in a fight in the giant
Oh,
and in the
no
Whole Food. It
question,
might
it's
be
up.
going down. It might be going down in Whole Foods.
Oh, definitely, right there and then. What you mean, like
That's
a
a
total stranger
yeah. That's it.
asking
Yeah,
you all these?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not going to be safe and Safeway when you talk we
no,
talk about stuff like that.
no. And then last but not least, for me, I think for me, I wanted to see more scenes with Wood Harris and Regina Hall.
Yeah.
I
It
would
would
have
have
liked
been
to see
yeah.
them
It's oh
more.
yeah. Wood Harris is always good to see in things, man.
Great
He just
actor.
yeah, absolutely. And Regina Hall, man, it just shows you what an actor can do once they when
Hmm.
they're given a different type of role. A lot of times you see
Yes,
Regina Hall, it's more like
it's.
humor, comedy kind of thing. This high stakes drama, she's great in it.
Hmm.
Shout outs to
Yeah, it's a
her.
psychological thriller, like seeing her in these action scenes versus seeing her in the stereotypical lovers, black
Hmm.
love movie.
Hmm.
Definitely like to change the pace.
Yeah, definitely good stuff there. All right, I'm gonna jump into my questions first for you.
All
All right,
right.
so talking about all right, so look, Leonardo DiCaprio. Is it time to put Leonardo DiCaprio on the Mount Rushmore of actors, man?
Thought he was already there.
All right, so who you got then? Who's your Mount Rushmore?
I think we alluded to this before. Denzel is number one.
Denzel's on it. I agree with you.
Uh, I definitely have to have Leonardo DiCaprio on there because
Okay.
we're talking about that. But I'm going to put in his dad or grandfather, Jack Nicholson. I think that
Good
I
pick.
think
Interesting.
I
Okay.
think that Yeah, no, because I think that what you call it looked for him I think like they were reminded of him, you know, in Leonardo DiCaprio and vice versa. So I think you got to put both of them. And then I know this is difficult, but sometimes you got to make hard choices. I'm going with uh I'm going with Al Pacino, and the reason why I
You look
say
like you
that,
want to see like
nah,
begrudgingly.
because I wanted to make sure I phrased it right. Because what I was going to say to is number five would be Robert De Niro, because they're always
Yeah,
simultaneously
yeah, I
put in, and
got
I
you.
didn't want to confuse the
I
two.
got you.
Um,
I got you.
but and the reason why I say Al Pacino is because he has more hallmark characters that he's
He's
played. You
got
know,
great
like
characters,
everybody remembers
of
Scarface.
course.
Everybody remembers him as Michael Corleone.
Yep.
Everybody remembers him in Scent of a Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has like those lines. I think all these guys have lines
Yeah.
where King Kong ain't got nothing on
Yeah.
me, or you can't handle the truth. Like everybody has quotable lines from these guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm putting that the way it
Okay,
is.
so he's on there. All right,
Yeah,
got
he's
it.
on there.
Cool. And I like the Jack Nicholson part. That
Yeah,
was a good
you
addition.
got to, man.
That's a good addition there. All right. Continue with Leonardo DiCaprio. What's your favorite three Leonardo DiCaprio films, man?
All right, I need you to rephrase this just so for clarification purposes. Do you mean the movie itself or him as the characters that he played in a movie? Because I got two different lists then.
Let me hear both. Let
All
me
right.
hear both.
So if you're just talking about the character,
Okay.
right? Not necessarily the movie,
Mm-hmm.
just the character.
Okay.
I have in no particular order.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Django Unchained, Mr.
Oh, Calvin
Candyman,
Candy. Yeah.
Candyland,
Yep.
Calvin Candy.
Yep.
I have number two, the Revenant,
Yeah. Really good in that.
based on a
Yeah.
true life story,
Yep.
and then
Won the
my
Academy
last
Award for
one,
that.
yeah, and then my last one is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Very good in Wolf of Wall Street. Yes. Very good.
So if you're
Yeah.
just talking, yeah,
The
if you're just
character.
talking
Yeah.
about
Very
the
good. No.
character
No.
itself,
No. Got
but
you.
if you're talking about him, his contributions, and the totality of the movie,
Yeah.
then it's totally
Let
different.
me hear those three. Let me hear it. I like
I
this. I
got
like this
Blood
answer.
Diamonds.
Very good
Yeah, I
movie.
got
Yeah,
Blood
with
Diamonds.
Jaimon Hans too. Yep, give us
Yeah,
free. Yep.
yeah, like and him dying in that. That was the first time I seen him dying. That's why I really like. Wow. Okay.
That's a very good
Um.
movie. Yep.
Then I got The Departed,
Yeah, of
and
course.
then I it was a toss up between The Quick and the Dead and Gangs of New
Gangs of New
York,
York,
and
man.
I'm going to
Yes.
go with Gangs of New York only
Yes.
because of our one of our favorite actors in that joint who's now retired.
Daniel Day Lewis.
Who yes, who just steals
Yeah, he was actually about. He's got
everything.
something new coming out.
Oh, I thought he was retired. I thought he
Nah,
said he was hanging.
he's got something new. His son is directing the film. It's coming
Oh,
out.
word.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I just saw the trailer for it. Yeah, he's back. Yeah,
Oh,
he's
okay.
back. He's back. But
All right.
he's
Dope.
cooking, man. So yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Cool. Well, there it is. All right. Couple more questions. So these ones are more like about this particular film. All right. Should we have seen Perfidia in the end of this film?
I thought instead of a letter that she was going to walk through the door, because when he said the knock on the door that I was expecting,
Mm-hmm.
I thought then they would give us her walking back into his life after the dust has settled.
Okay.
But I'm glad that they didn't.
Okay.
And the reason being is it left a more powerful, impact, and then her driving to Oakland 3.5 hours away for a protest.
Yeah.
I think it kind of solidified their relationship where she was like, I don't need to tell you that you are not my biological dad. I already told this dude that I already have a dad. I seek refuge in you, et cetera, et cetera. And we're back where we started in this little trailer park place out in middle of Bumba, the
Wherever they were. Yeah.
boondocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Great answer. So great, in fact, that you wiped out my next question. Was do you think Willa will tell Bob the truth that she's actually Lockjaw's daughter? But you don't
Nah,
think she will. Okay.
I don't think she will. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Like she had already made a declaration of love, indicating like, no, this is my dad.
That's
You
my
may be
dad.
my biological father,
Mhm.
and a father and a dad to me are two different things. They are not synonyms.
There it is. All right. So let's say there's going to be a sequel to this film, right? But the sequel has to focus on one of these three storylines.
Mm.
Okay. I want you to pick the storyline that you would be most interested in seeing the film on.
Yeah, this was
Storyline number one is Bob and Willa search for Perfidia. Storyline number two is the French 75 tries to save Billy Goat and Deandra. And then storyline number three is a focus on the history and the activities of the Christmas Adventurers Club. So if you got to see one of those three stories done by PTA, which one would you like to see?
Here's my deal. All right. One, I don't think that the quest for perfidia, if you will, would be done by the both of them. I think that would be a daughter thing,
Okay.
and I think Willow would do that on her own. So that's not in the cards.
Okay.
I think that the plausibility of the French 75 going to whatever military installation again,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that they're all known and they're probably up there in age, that's not feasible. So the last alternative is the canonical adventures of the Christmas
Adventurous
uh,
Club.
Adventurers Club is the one that I'm going to have to go with if I have to go with any of the three. But I think you could make a movie where that is the primary topic, but it covers those other aspects as well.
Okay.
The failed attempt to get Billy Goat out, Willa going on a quest for her mother, and these guys like, yo, we
So if it
want
was all
revenge,
three
so we're gonna
movies,
wipe.
then it would be a
Yeah,
better. Okay, I got you.
yeah.
Well, I don't think they do. PTA
No, he doesn't.
doesn't do
One, he
sequels.
doesn't do sequels, and two, this would be too grandiose even for him.
Well, we'll see. All right. So, all right, what you got for me, questions wise?
Yeah, man. So, whew, we got a lot going on here, but I got down to four. Does the film critique or glorify the revolutionary movements of the past, or does it try to offer a balanced perspective on their successes and failures?
Yeah, I think because it does not provide any sort of context or historical link between the French 75 and other organizations, I don't think it's really trying to critique revolutionary organizations in America in general. I
Mm,
think that it is using this particular organization as as I was saying earlier, a placeholder for whatever you think those
mm,
organizations are. When you think about like the way that even the names like Billy Goat and Ghetto Pat and Perfidia, Hollywood, Beverly Hills and JP, like it's designed to make it sort of funny
mm-hmm,
in a way that real organizations like that are not funny at all. So I
mm.
don't think it's so much trying to critique that. I think the humor part and the satire is designed to make you think about it as its own thing and really challenge you as the audience to say, what do you think about what these organizations are like?
Dig it. How does the film interrogate the idea of legacy? Particularly, what kind of legacy revolutionaries leave behind for their children?
Yeah, I mean, this is the part with Willa, right? Because
Mm-hmm,
Willa is the child of the struggle, and if you are someone who was born in the 70s or 80s, you are also the child of people that were participating in some level of the struggle. Like a
mm-hmm,
lot of people in our age group come from people that were in the Black Panthers or
mm-hmm.
were in, RAM or were in BLA or were in the Nation of Islam or were in any number of organizations
Yeah,
who
black student movements
right
in
who might have
college.
been in SNCC, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
you come from that, right? And what I thought was really dope about the film was Willa learned all the things that she had to
mm-hmm.
know to be able to survive. She learned the call signs, right? Bob made sure that she learned. He might have forgot them for himself, but he
But
made
he
sure
instilled
that
that in
she
her.
knew them.
Yeah.
So when Deandra showed up and she gave the proper call signs, she knew I can trust this person with my life if
And
they
had the
say,
device.
and she had the device, right? So the legacy is like those our parents, and in this case, Bob gave Willa the tools that she needs to survive. The legacy is that the struggle continues, right, as it does for Willa. That's why she leaves at the end and does what she does, and that's kind of I think what the theme is, like one battle after another. Like it really doesn't
It never
stop.
ends.
It really doesn't
Yeah.
stop. It really never ends, right? Like in Spook Who Sat by the Door, like when the character Freeman, his last name, he says it's not that we just have to keep fighting. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. It matters that we keep fighting. And that's what this is. Like, it doesn't matter if we win or lose. It matters that we keep fighting. It doesn't matter if you're in an organization like your parents were in. It matters that you're still about the struggle. You're still trying to improve the life of the people in this world against oppressive regimes, wherever they may be.
Well, it's like Wu Tang said, saga
Yeah, it
continues.
does.
Does the film ultimately view revolution as a noble failure, a moral necessity, or something more ambiguous?
I think that this is one of the things that I think the film does really good is that in the end, it all the things that are there, they still continue. Like The Christmas Adventures Club is still out there doing dirt. The military is still doing what they're doing, and the French 75 is still doing what they're doing. It's going to continue, and what changes is the people change, right? And but the struggle remains the same. Like you said, Wu-Tang, the saga continues. I think that's what the movie ends on, and the fact that in the end, Will is like, I'm going to Oakland to be a part of this, this protest. That, I think for Bob, it's like, okay, she got the message. She got the point, right? And I can accept that. And he doesn't feel like he's got to protect her anymore, because he knows like she's now been properly inducted into the struggle and she can do
Baptism by fire.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. So, I think like there's some optimism to that at the end, and it's hard to land, like, at the end of the movie, if there was like, oh, they defeated the military and they exposed the whole Christmas Adventures Club, like that would have been a Disney movie. Like that's not real life. Like real life, this goes on and it keeps going on until it doesn't. And then, we're not going to see that, but like they say, like the true revolutionary doesn't even think that they're going to see the world that they're trying to create. They're trying to create that world for their children and their children's children.
That's dope.
So that's that, man. That's the questions.
One more.
Okay.
Last one is, what might the title "One Battle After Another" suggest about the cyclical nature of conflict, both political and personal?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I think that's like, just like I was saying there. I just think, it goes on because it has to keep evolving. As long as we're here, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be people that want to oppress. There's going to be people that want freedom, and those people are always going to be in conflict. So it's one battle after another. It's just going to be that way.
All right, man. Let's get into the popcorn.
Yo, 4.5 for me. I'm gonna put 4.5 with an asterisk by it, because I think probably like 2 years from now, if I saw this again, and I probably will see it again before 2 years from now, I'll probably make it a 5. But coming out of the theater today, like 2 days removed, or a day removed, 4.5. Great film by PTA, great acting as well. There were a couple of threads that I wish would have been tied up a little bit better, but I'm nitpicking on it. But 4.5 is where I'm saying. Definitely go out and see it.
Oh yeah,
definitely 1,000%. If you're listening to this, go check it out. You will not be disappointed, and check it out in a movie theater as well. Like, don't wait the 45 days for it to be streaming. Go check it out. We talked about this earlier. This is the third like really great film I think I've seen in 2025, alongside Sinners, of course, and F1. This is definitely a go to the theater and watch it.
Yeah, I'm with CJ as far as going to see this. I'm going to take it up a notch. I'm going to give this 5.
Moved it up. Yeah.
I moved it up. This is the second best movie I've seen in the theaters.
It was really good.
I really believe that it's going to get a lot of nominations.
No doubt.
Whether it be Best Picture, Best Actor, Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, Best Actress, Screenplay, you name it. Like, just everything.
Yeah.
The cinematography, as far as using the desert backdrop as a barren wasteland. Yep. The different forestry settings for meeting fertility and trying to spawn something of life, utilizing the blackout scenes as far as the deprivation of power, literally and figuratively, the backdrop of the secret societies meeting in hidden rooms in regular suburbia. Kudos. The fact that they use skateboarders to be the epitome of the grunge movement out west, dope. Everything about this movie.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so many, like, we didn't even really spend a whole bunch of time on Sensei Sergio, man.
Oh man,
yo, Benicio
Del Toro kills his subtleties, the means by which he's always the calming influence,
the balancing effect, the balancing effect, and the way that he's got his whole organization too, that he's running right. He's running without all of the call signs and all those things, right? Yeah. Because you don't need that when everybody's the same culture. The culture is the organization.
Right.
Yeah. So that was brilliant. Chase Infinity as Willa, just
groundbreaking.
Amazing.
She's been in a couple of Apple series, but this is for me her standout breakout film.
It stamps her, right? Like she's on her way up, man.
Yeah, because she's with the heavyweights and she's holding her own.
Yeah. And once again, I mean, Sean Penn, man. As far as like creating a memorable villain, Colonel Lockjaw. Memorable 2025 villain, man.
And he eventually lives up to the name with the whole blasting half of his face off.
Right.
Dope.
Right. We're up there with Remick from Sinners as like one of the
Mm-hmm.
real good villains of 2025, man. So
Yeah,
that's that.
definitely.
All right, man. Hot takes, Mr. Will. What you got for us on hot takes?
So I have as my hot take: just because you can doesn't mean you should. And this is epitomized by everything ranging from Lockjaw going out on his own self-destruct mission where he should have come clean. They gave him. I don't think they would have killed him for it. They just would have disassociated
Right. He
themselves.
would have
But
been
once
alive.
he would have been alive, but pride and ego got in the way. Hubris got in the way. So for all of them, they felt as if this guy, not only was he a race traitor, but he tried to get one over on us, and you will not besmirch the name of our organization. At the same time, just the relationship between Bob and Perfidia's grandmother, where she tried to school him. You know, there's always individuals given the opportunity to get some information, and what they choose to do with that, whether they willfully blindly ignore it or if they adhere to it. In all cases, all of these characters, for one reason or another, chose to ignore it. And he continued on with this path, and it led him nearly to losing his daughter permanently,
Yeah.
as well as himself. The fact that Perfidia was given the option, like, look, you chose this life, and you had an opportunity to stay at home with your family, and you could have been safe. Everyone else could have been safe. No, you chose yourself over the lack of accountability to someone else. You chose to put yourself and your own selfish needs ahead of everyone else. And then, of course, the obvious is just because people can have children doesn't mean that they should. They know themselves that they are unfit to be parents.
Yeah. How
I don't
about
give
that?
people props for being a good parent. You chose to bring somebody into this world for selfish means. People don't ask to be brought here. And it's the epitome of when somebody names their child John Smith Jr., Jane Doe, or whatever have you. The ego it takes for you to continue to name somebody after you, it's like doubling down on the fact that you feel that you're so significant that you need to leave somebody here, let alone leave your name here, on doubling down on it. It's like a walking monument.
Gotcha. All right. My hot take is yo, this movie has amazing marketing. The marketing of this
Mm,
film will make you think you're going to watch like an action comedy kind of thing.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
But there's actually some really serious issues that are being broken down in here. And
Yeah.
I walked in thinking I knew what I was going to be watching, but I didn't know that I would be watching something about all these black female, white male dynamics and
Yeah.
power dynamics within sexual relationships, secret societies and fascism, and what does that mean and how does that impact everything, the idea of like legacy creation in the idea of protest and revolutionary movement. I did not know that that's what I was going to walk into. And in 2025, I think if you present a film like that, you would automatically turn off probably
Oh,
60% of the people that would go see it. Not doing
easily.
it that way, I think, is allowed that to happen. I don't know if this movie is going to make a lot of money. I think like it's going to get the critical acclaim for sure. But even when I looked at the first weekend numbers, it's not trending the way that you think it would. And I think part of that is
Mm.
that unfortunately there's a lot of society just looks at anything and says if it's woke, I don't want to see it. But this film has got a lot of stuff going on. And the marketing was very clever because it gets you in the theater, it gets you sitting down. But man, once it starts, that thrill ride is amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's that, man. That is our breakdown of One Battle After Another, which is highly rated by us. Next week we will be back with Carlito's Way. See, check out Carlito Brigante and Sean Penn
Mm.
again, right? Sean Penn is in that one, so we see some of his early work as well. Once again, we are pushing to get 100 new subscribers to our YouTube page by our 100th episode. This is our 95th. The Sticky Floors podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify Podcasts. We are on YouTube, where we want you to subscribe and like and share. We're also on Threads. We're also on X, where we can continue this conversation. Once again, Black women, if you've seen this movie, I want to know what you think about these characters because
Here,
there's
here.
very interesting dynamics being shown there. We'll see you next week. Peace.